All right, hello and welcome to the Dad Strength Podcast. I am your host, Richie Leahey. Today we're adding another item to our list of essential items for new dads. Now that item is going to be something that most dads, I think, should kind of know about, but might not. So I think, giving a look through my potential list right now, whenever you're going and giving your child a bath, so I don't think we've had anything that's related to the bath yet. I know I talked about plastic books. It looks like whenever your child wants something wet, or if they're going to chew on the books or whatever, you can give them plastic books. Well, here we're having our first tub item, and I think I talked about it before. You don't need really to have that bathtub inset inside of your bathtub. So what we're looking at today is nothing related to really the bath itself. It's just related to the water. The item today on our list is Bath Tub Thermometer. Now, that thermometer is highly important for your child, because if you go ahead and set it around too high of a temperature or too cold of a temperature, it could give issues for your child. And especially if you have a first newborn baby, you don't want that at all. So we're looking at the bathtub thermometer. I personally like to keep the water around optimal body temperature. So body temperature, or maybe you don't know, should be 98.6 degrees. I think that's correct. So whenever I set my bath, I like it to go right between 98 and 99. Some people say you can go a little bit higher than that. If you get a good bathtub thermometer, it will kind of go ahead and highlight. If you're too hot, like ours blinks, we have a whale. And then if you set it in, it's like a little rubber whale. So when you're in the bathtub, your child can go ahead and play with it. And it floats around with them, and it's kind of like another little toy, which works out great. It's great to have in the bathtub and everything, so you don't have to worry about it being in the way, putting it in. The water gets cold because you don't realize that you've been in there for 20 minutes because your child's playing and having fun. It's a little important to have with you, because the water will get cold the longer you're in the bathtub or your child's in the bathtub. So with that, the temperature you don't want too cold, because it will go ahead and introduce like hypothermia type states. And that is a big no-no, because your child will go ahead and start to get blue lips. They'll start to shiver, and then you'll definitely need to get them dry. So by having a bathtub thermometer like mine, it's a whale, it's blue. I'll have a picture of it with the post for this episode on my website. It will go ahead and be able to monitor the water throughout the whole bath. So you don't have to worry about it too much. It's floating around. Perfect. Now, there are different kinds of bathtub thermometers. We also have a whale with it. We got, I don't know if it was a set or what, but we also got a plastic whale that goes around the actual bathtub spout, because that's normally metal or some type of hard other ceramic. It's probably mostly metal, I think. So we got one that goes on top of that, and that will protect her if she falls back, hits her head, or anything like that. But this is the main thing you need. Some people will say that it's not important. It's more important to have, like, put bath soap on the list, or put baby shampoo, or no more tears, or put like a sticky mat so they don't fall, or a rubber duck. Well, first off, the rubber duck is not on our list, and rubber toys that have a hole in it, like that Sophia giraffe, have shown that they can get mold in them if you don't let them dry out. So be very careful with whatever toys you have in the bathtub. If your child's chewing on it, once they start to get teeth, you don't want them to bite through the plastic and be exposed to possibly some type of mold. That's just something that I've seen happen most recently. I mean, I'm sure it's been around since the 70s, 80s, maybe even before, whenever these items were first being produced. But it's now out there. As a parent, it's your responsibility to go ahead and take advantage of these new findings and make sure your child is safe. And same with the bathtub thermometer. You might not think it's that important, but in reality, they didn't have these type of things 10, 20 years ago when new parents now were infants. So take advantage of it. It's not that expensive. It usually goes ahead and has maybe 1 or 2 batteries in it. The batteries aren't something that's going to go ahead and run up a cost for you. So I would recommend just having it and using it sparingly or whenever you need it. Most of the time, it's easy just to keep in the bathtub. Like I said, the kid will treat it as a toy. Especially like the blinking lights when they're younger, it will attract them. So I definitely say to go ahead and get a bathtub thermometer. And that's something that I think is very essential for parents. So if you've been following the site for a while now, I have a list. I think it was on. So what we've been doing is moving posts to the Leahey report from dadstrength.us. My goal is just to get everything in one central location at this point. So we can go ahead, get all the posts there. I have a ranking. It's on ranker.com. If you search Dad Strength or even my name, Richie Leahey, it should come up and you should be able to find it. That's the best place if you want to vote on these items, the most essential items for dads. Go to ranker.com, find the list. You can find it on our website, but the website is currently under construction. There are going to be other changes coming on. Hopefully it won't affect the podcast too much, but the podcast is going to go on. We're going through our list. I've been working on finalizing a list. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to have probably 20 to 25 items on the most essential items list for dads. I've gone ahead and they should all be on Ranker. I don't know if I have all my images up for them yet, but I'm working on getting that up. And they're going to be accompanied by a YouTube video. So there will be an audio-only podcast for each one, and there will be a video to go along with each item, and each having a link back to the list itself so that you can vote. Now, depending on how many votes we get, I might keep the list up indefinitely. I don't know, as long as Ranker's still around, we'll keep it. I will, every once in a while, I'll take a screenshot or snapshot of how many votes we've had. Hopefully we get a couple hundred or so, maybe more. And then if something happens with Ranker, if they take our list down or they go out of business or it starts to be a paid service, I'll just host it on my website, the final results. So make sure you go vote if you want to. If not, check out the list. You'll be able to see the full list there. I might link on the list itself to the YouTube videos, and at the top have just a list link to the podcast as a whole, so people can kind of go through and get the videos that way. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. I'm still in the planning stages, so thanks for listening and sticking with me. I will be finishing the list for sure, so you can always come back and check Dad Strength out for that. Even if we're moving sites or whatever, I haven't gotten those finally moved yet, but the posts are still going up. You can get a new episode of Dad Strength every Friday. So one more time as we close around, the length of these episodes should be around 10 to 15 minutes. Not too long, but I'll be getting into, again, one topic and just running with it. I've kind of toyed around with the format a little bit, but to reiterate and recap, the item this week is Bath Tub Thermometer. It's very important because you have the tool, it's a cheap item to get, and it makes sure that your kid's at optimal temperature in the tub. One thing that kids don't like, some of them, if they don't like the water, it's going to be a pain to bath them and keep them clean. So make it fun, make it comfortable for them. If you can find the optimal temperature where they're not cold, they're not hot, make bath time fun. It'll be something they look forward to. And then you'll be able to use that as a tool to get them to go to bed, maybe get into a routine, give them a bath before bed. And then that way they can just go right from the bath time to maybe reading a story, getting a bottle when they're young, maybe brushing their teeth, going to the potty whenever they get to that age, and then going right to bed. So it'll be something that maybe they can get into the routine of calming down. It doesn't have to be every night. You might want to do your own research on that. I'm not going to tell you how many times to bathe your kid, but there's some that go back and forth. Don't use soap every day. Do use soap every day. Don't bathe every day. Bathe once a week when they're a kid. There's a lot of different conflicting theories and ideas, but pretty much you can just stick with historically whatever your family has done. So talk to your parents, see what they did, how many times they bathed you. But that's the item for this week. Bathtub thermometers. Search on ranker.com for the dad strength list. Go ahead, vote it up if you think it's an essential item for dads. And my name is Richie Leahey. I'm your host. Check out my other stuff on YouTube. I've been trying to get other videos up and stuff, so you can check me out there. Dad Strength will continue on there and on the podcast. And I will see you next week. Thanks again.